Hey, music lovers, Sara J here. Looking for an inclusive space where you can connect with fellow fans, deep dive into your favorite music, and be a part of something special? Well, look no further. Join us on Patreon, where music and community come together. Get exclusive content, behind the scenes access, and a place to geek out over the artists you love, plus explore music you haven't heard yet. Come hang out with us. Patreon.com/DATC Media Company. That's patreon.com/DATC Media Company. See you there. A member of the DATC Media family.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to do this and was excited to hang and chat and it's been a long work week, so this is a nice respite.
Awesome. I love it that you feel that way. It has been just a long week, I feel, for everybody. Like, all the things are happening everywhere for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hell of a time to be on this ride we call life, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I was joking with my wife last night. I was like, I was looking up how do you immigrate to Ireland? How do you immigrate to the UK? How do you immigrate to Canada? All this stuff. And she's like, stop doing that. Drive yourself crazy. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah. What's your 9 to 5 daytime thing that you do during the week?
This is it.
Is it? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, DATC Media is what I do. So, and momming.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, I have 3 kids, but my oldest is 21, so he's, literally doing his own life. So I have 2 at home. Marley's 14 and Brendan is 10, and I homeschool Brendan. So there's that. And so, running the household and our lives and school and my media company that's it. That's
Yeah.
my life.
That'll
Yeah.
take up some life.
Little bit. It's a couple of jobs, and I'm the marketing rep and social media lady and all other things for Rough Gauge, and do all the things with Jake Blade and do that as well. So a lot of things in the music industry, but DATC Media is really where it all funnels through, and everything is really that. So
Yeah. Has music been just like a part of your life your whole life?
yeah, just
Okay.
it's always been like a thing, even like my mom um did concert photography, and she managed bands, and she did, I remember posing for like album covers that she was taking the pictures of for local bands that she would just do stuff with. And yeah, so just like all these different things. It was just like, yeah, it always
You
comes
don't
back.
know any different. It's just been part of you. Yeah. That's
Totally.
cool.
And that's why it's so fascinating to me, because like I don't play music. And I think a lot of that just has to do with my patience
Mm.
level. So maybe there will be a version of me later on in life that will have the capacity to do that. But my passion for just all the other parts of it, and the community around it, and really what it means to people, like just what it means to people, and how it just can do everything. It can change your mood, it can invoke memories, and then you can get spiritual about it, you can get scientific about it. I mean, even, yeah, they've done scientific studies about music and music therapy and just all the things. And so it's so fascinating to me that regardless of what it is, because there's so much music out there and I don't love it all. Um, but I get it for
Yeah.
other people, when I'm like, you know what, I did not like that at all, but I love it so much for you. Like, I
Totally.
love that you have that in your life, because, even for me, like, my morning routine, I have, my whole like spiritual morning routine. And listening to music is part of that because, like, dancing out emotions and doing things is necessary sometimes. Like, you have to do it. And if you think about it, how long have humans been doing that? Like, literally forever.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, that's really, like, getting back to what we are and what we're supposed to be doing and processing emotions and things. So,
100%.
music's just so fascinating to me.
Do you ever see that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know?
No, I don't think I have.
So it came out, I would say probably 2005 or 2004. It was like an indie film, and there was a really interesting part. It was really about like the universe and things that we don't understand and whatnot. But there was a really interesting segment of the movie where they took glasses of water and they exposed them to music. They exposed them to like raw human emotion, like someone yelling at a glass of water. This sounds so hokey, but like just
No.
all that the molecules changed
Yeah.
depending on what was happening to that glass of water. And I just that has stuck with me forever, just in terms of understanding, just in general. Like we were having this conversation the other night, my wife and I and her brother, but we were talking about like the existence of time and how everything is built of molecules, right? But like over time, have we evolved and our eyes don't see those molecules anymore? Like what was it in the beginning? Like where we're just like people were surrounded and they were able to see molecules in the air, but somehow we learn, just like when you wear like a pair of glasses and there's a weird frame at the edge where you can see it, but after a while you don't see it.
Mhm.
It's just so interesting. Like that stuff is fascinating to me. And it sounds, like I said, it sounds hokey, but like that
Not
is some,
though.
yeah, it's so weird though, right?
It's
Um,
so crazy though because you could even get into some either even deeper stuff and even talk about how looking at a perspective and your perspective of a situation and looking at it and how for a long time you do have like blinders on and they're not even actually there but you do and then like something happens and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, it feels like the blinders off." Like, why
mhm.
do you think you said that? Because in some weird.
Metaphysical.
Yes, there was actually something blocking you from viewing it this way. Like, it's a whole thing. I could get into a whole thing.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Do you believe in ghosts?
I totally do. I do because I actually like do speak to like entities. And then there
Mm,
will be like some people that I will connect with and then like they'll stay with me for a little while. It's a weird thing,
mm.
but it's true.
Trust me, we lived in Salem, Massachusetts, for a period of my life, and our backyard, we were was this jail was converted into condos in Salem, Massachusetts, and the jail itself was, but then there was like the warden's house was changed into three condominiums. So we were in the warden's house. I had two experiences in that house. First of all, our backyard was the graveyard where like the Salem witch trials, where people were pressed to death and stuff.
Oh my god.
It was crazy. But we had this thing happen where we had just moved there and from Boston proper. And we would come home from work and the base, because we had like, it was weird. It was like a condominium, but it was like a 2 bedroom and it was almost like a townhouse. So we had 3 floors. It was like a basement, then the main floor with 1 bedroom, and then upstairs was our bedroom. And we would come home and the basement light would be on. And we'd be like, that's weird. Maybe I left it on, kind of thing. And then we came back to Maryland for Christmas holidays and stuff with our family. And we went back, it was on again. And I was like, dude, either someone's coming into our house or there's something in our house that's turned the light on. So my wife, we had heard that the warden in that home had lost a young child to like scarlet fever or something crazy. And my wife was like, let's put a night light down there because maybe it's the kid and maybe they just don't like being in the dark. And she put a night light down there, and it never happened again. I'm not even. I swear to you. And another night I woke up in the middle of the night and there was half a man looking out the window down onto where like the public area for like the inmates was, like the public kind of recreation area. And then I like rubbed my eyes and then he was gone. So at that moment when we lived in that place, I was like, okay, there's something else beyond us. Like it really hit me hard. I was like, wow. Like, but then ever since we moved back here, nothing. Never experienced anything else.
That's so interesting and amazing.
Yeah, really, really cool.
That is very cool.
Mhm.
That's very cool. There's I mean, I think instances like that are almost like convergence in timeline in a way. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel like when instances like that happen because I am always curious about like what is their perspective of encountering you? Like if they're on their own timeline, like I start to get
right.
like kind of all into it is like, well, did they have kind of an experience encountering like you and what were you to them? Like I think those kind of like passings are the example of just multiple timelines happening in one place, you
Yeah,
know, because
I
that was
love that.
something else at one time. So, oh, that's amazing. I've never been to Salem. It's on my bucket list. Like, I need to go there.
It's really cool. It reminds me so much of so where we're from in Maryland, we're about an hour ish from Annapolis, Maryland, which is the capital. And it is like a seaport kind of town, cobblestone streets, like super cute, quaint, like
Love it.
and Salem reminded me of that when we moved there because it's on the water, super old history, like the whole like downtown area where the common is surrounded by all those houses that if people have seen Hocus Pocus, that's where it was filmed. So it's like it's just I would highly recommend it. It's got
I
a
love
bunch of great restaurants too. Like it's really cool now. It's grown a lot.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I want to go when I can like spend time and really absorb it all because I'm just gonna nerd out so hard about everything.
Yeah, it's cool. You should go. You should go.
Awesome. It's definitely on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah. Sorry to
Awesome.
derail with ghost stories.
No, listen, anybody that's like listening when I air this, they're going to hear us start talking and they're going to think they're going to go, oh God, here she goes. You
Me
got
too.
her started on all the things. I could do probably a whole podcast on all of the metaphysical, spiritual, witchy things that I'm into. I feel like we're kind of
Go
at the
for it.
point in humanity where you just can't really deny any of it anymore.
Yeah, it's like when they released information about, oh yeah, aliens are real. We've known that for a long time. People are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like nobody freaked out. Nobody freaked out. I'm like,
Like, okay, I'm glad that we're all like, it's kind of like that Thanksgiving dinner where like somebody in the family finally admits something and you're just sitting there like, okay, I'm so glad that we all know this now.
right?
Like, good. It's all out. Okay, good. We all know. Good. Okay, moving on. Pass the gravy. Like,
So funny, man. I
really.
saw somebody. I think Tom Segura was talking about that the other day with somebody because he's like into UFOs and things like that. And that was like the rhetoric that they were talking about how like just nobody cares. We just dropped it. Like,
Yep.
why are we just dropping that? Let's get in the weeds with it. Come on, man.
I mean, but
Anyway,
it's because it's 2025. Like literally though, if you would have said this to us like
pre cell phones.
in like yeah, exactly. Like if you would have timed it differently, we would have freaked out. But in 2025, we're just like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
And what are we having for dinner? Like
Right? And apparently there's some gigantic like asteroid the size of like Manhattan that could be a spaceship heading towards us that has like a space dinosaur on it. Did you see that picture?
I
There
didn't.
was
Where's Will Smith? Aren't we supposed to be
like
calling him now? Isn't that where this is going?
I
I did
don't
see
know.
this movie, didn't you? Yeah, we
Yeah,
saw this movie, yeah.
I know. Same thing with AI, right? Like we've seen this movie. Let's rewind a little bit. I could go back to the 90s happily. That's fine. Oh my god.
Seriously. I tell my kids all the time about it. I'm like, guys, you've no idea.
And now my daughter's dressing like the 90s. That's like the thing now. She's 14 too and like everything she walks out the door to go to high school and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what people wore in the 90s." Okay, this is happening.
This is happening. Okay. That's where
I'm proud
time
of
is
it,
a mind fuck.
right?
Yes.
It's so good. Anyway,
Totally.
music.
Totally. Yes, let's talk about music. I'm excited. This is fun. I'm so glad that you reached out and then I'm going to be on your show, which is
Yeah.
so fun. Um, but this is all because of Dan, which has been like a really fun thing that has happened and a really great reminder of why I started this, what my whole mission here was. And it all started with my chat with Mark Shapiro. And then Dan Wallace heard that and reached out and was like, "Hey, I hope I'm not being too forward, but if you'd like me to be on your show." And we had an awesome time chatting. And there's been so many things that have come off of his chat. My buddy out in Montana went to go see music because Dan reached out to him and was like, "You should see this band. They're coming out there." And then you reached out to me and you have a connection with Dan, and
Hmm.
it's just very cool. That's exactly what I wanted for DATC, was to just be able to just spread around and talk about music and give everybody a space and a platform to share their story.
Sure.
So this is another another manifestation and realization. So I love this.
It's a
This is
small
so
world.
cool.
Very
Yeah.
cool. When you really look at it. Yeah, Dan played on my last record that I put out in 2019. I got one of my friends from Boston who was in my band in Boston who played trombone, has always like done charts for me for like horn section stuff for my music. And then I knew Dan through mutual friends in town in Baltimore. And I was like, "Yo, do you want to play on this record? I have charts. All the horns are written. But can you find another saxophone player and a trumpet?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got the perfect people." And so then he came out and brought those two cats, and they played on. I think it was like it was only 8 songs, but I think they played on 4 of them.
Nice.
Half of the record has horns on it, so I think. But yeah, and then it's just like Baltimore is so like small to more. There's a lot of like cross pollination of people playing in different groups and different records, and kind of everybody kind of knows each other in the scene. Did he talk about Fells Point at all?
He didn't, but it's interesting that you brought that up right away too about Baltimore's music scene, because Mark had really talked deeply about that. And then because of that, I brought that up to Dan, because now I'm like, obviously this is very true because of, this starting to web out. And then after you reached out to me, and I was like, okay, like this is very obvious that there is a serious music scene in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not like totally jammy like it used to be. Like when I was coming up playing in a band, like when I was in high school and college, which would have been late '90s, early 2000s. There was a lot more kind of improvisational jam bands like in town, and I feel like it kind of at some point the sea change happened where it was a lot more punk and like new age stuff, like Future Islands, Beach House, things like that were coming out of Baltimore. But like I feel like early on, like a lot of those bands used to come through too. Like Mo used to come through here all the time. Um,
Mhm.
they don't get through here a lot anymore, which I understand because like as far as the scene here, I don't think they have the scene they had in the late '90s, early 2000s, unfortunately. Now,
Yeah,
granted, those guys, I feel like they're like one of my favorite bands, and I feel like they're having like a resurgence now since Chuck is kind of back and doing better,
totally.
which
And
I'm
it's
so happy
incredible
about.
to watch him play, like, to even think about what he went through and had to relearn and everything to come back and just play. And just
I know.
like,
I
I
cannot.
love Mo so much. And being from Buffalo and living here, we get spoiled.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. But yeah, so it's a cool scene though. I mean, there's a spot downtown that is called Fells Point, which is basically like 6th Street in Austin, where it's every bar has live music. So you can go and see a full band, you can go and see somebody playing solo acoustic, you can go see some weird kind of like avant-garde jazz thing in another room. So they've got a neat little setup down there. I don't play down there a lot anymore on choice because it's parking is horrendous for musicians down there. It's not like Austin where there's like band parking. So I tend to stay like maybe I play down there every once in a while. There's a really cool bar called the Cat's Eye Pub, and it's kind of like a New Orleans vibe. So like my band does really well there in terms of like bluesy, funky, soulful stuff that we do. but it's probably the room that people know about when they talk about Baltimore, you know. So, but it's yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it seems like it. I was just like, this is very intriguing. I'll, definitely have to ask you about it because it's a very true statement, it seems to be.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, there was when we were coming up cutting our teeth, there was only a few venues, and you probably heard of the 8x10 Club. I mean, you know, I have fish tapes from like when they were touring going through there.
Yeah.
So, and that's still there, although we're hearing rumors about it being sold, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. I was actually trying to organize a show to bring Danger Muffin up to like for us to open for Danger Muffin because I'm friends with those dudes too, and it might not happen, but it's still there for right now. So anybody that's coming through that's like a 300 person venue that has that kind of crowd, like Dopapod sold it out, like Eggy came through. I think Eggy's getting too big now though.
Yeah.
But it's you know, there's another room across town called the Rec Room, which used to be called the Record Theater, which is more of a 700 person venue, 800 people. And then downtown there's like a 1,500 person venue. But besides that, I think the last time I went to a show was to see Umphreys at Pier 6.
Mm-hmm.
Last time they were coming through. But
Yep.
that's like the biggest outdoor venue in Baltimore.
That's a cool spot though.
It
I've
is
seen them
cool.
there. It's a cool spot. It's definitely
Mhm.
a cool spot. I was there. It would have been the summer of 2023 now, Michael Palmisano.
Mhm.
I met up with him and we hung out pre-show with the guys, and then he did a sit-in with them, and he was geeking out so hard. It was so funny. I have a picture of him because I was side stage and I was supposed, I'm gonna cue him in because he doesn't know the songs like we know the
Right,
songs.
right, right.
And so they were like, okay, this is where we want him to come in. All right, so I'm standing there. He's all excited. I have this picture of him standing behind him, and he's like watching the guys, and the way he's holding his guitar, he's like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like he's waiting to be like, called in to come and hit the pitch or something. It was so funny. It was so cute. So that was such a great time and such a fun venue. But I heard that there was like something with releasing audio from those shows, and like the venue, like they have like some different contract and they can't release the audio. Yeah, it was like something
What?
weird with Pier 6. I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
strange.
Yeah, I don't remember like what the conclusion of that story was, but I remember after that show, like people, we couldn't get the recording wasn't on Nugs, and it had
Hmm.
something to do with like the venue, and I'm like, this
That's
is weird.
weird.
Yeah, or like the
I
city
was
of Baltimore or something. Like I don't know. I never got to the end of that story, but it was definitely a very weird thing.
I have to look into that. That's the
Yeah.
show I was at because I'm friends with Michael. So it's I was there because that Eggy opened up, right?
They might have. That was 2023. They might have.
Yeah, I think so. Because that's when I was getting to know Donnie and Jake a bit.
Yeah, because that's when they had a bunch of different people on, like opening for them. Because I remember like Talk opened like later in August, and like so yeah, maybe Eggy did open.
Yeah, because Chris wasn't there, right? That was who was playing drums that night? Jake played drums for a little bit.
Right. Um,
So, but I can't remember who was playing
it
drums
was
on.
definitely during that part of tour though, because I had done like I was like literally on tour like that whole section of time.
Nice.
So yeah, I can't remember who it was because I know by the time we had gotten to like Saranac is when Dwayne was there. Maybe it was Dwayne that night.
I
I don't know.
think it was Dwayne.
Maybe it was Dwayne.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Dwayne now that I'm like trying to piece the that was so long ago.
I know,
Again,
doesn't
we're
it
back
feel
to the whole
crazy?
time thing.
I know, but it's funny because
But
those
literally though.
Mhm. That was only my second Humphrey show, and I jumped on board. Anchor Drops changed my life.
Yeah.
That record came out, and I had never heard any. I mean, I had heard like Hurt Bird Bath and stuff like when the first like Bonnaroo tapes were like going around when they were playing that. So I had heard them, but when that record came out and I heard that, I was like, oh shit. Like now I gotta go. And I went and bought a GNL and like was shedding on a bunch of stuff, like just because like Jake was blowing my mind. And I actually talked to him via email at one point. It was like 2000, maybe 6 or 7. I was like, yo, if you ever come through Baltimore, I would love to take a guitar lesson with you to like pick your brain about what you do. And he was like, okay. He's like, well, what are you looking to do? And I was like, I just really want to get into like the right hand technique stuff you're doing, because I've never worked on like super fast 3 note per string shreddy stuff, and I want to kind of figure out that vocabulary. And he was so nice, and he was like, yeah, like hit me up next time. And then it never happened. But yeah, that record really turned my head
Yeah,
hard.
it's pivotal when it crossed my path too. I think it was like 2008. It definitely, it was a game changer in music for me for sure, and it was a game changer for them as a band. Definitely. If I remember the timeline right, I mean that's when Chris joined the band,
Yep.
and whenever I've had any conversations with people that have been along for their entire history, before and after Chris not being there and being there and whatever, they said that that was the pivotal point in the band, when he joined the band and they made that record. So even for people that had been there from the beginning, they knew that that was definitely, a moment in time for them as well, too. It's a
Mm.
phenomenal record. It's just one of those that will just always be, it'll always hit. It really will. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal record. That leads me perfectly too into just, I want to start at the beginning. Like, I want to, you asked me, music was always just kind of like a thing for me. So, I mean, the question now is turned to you. Where is your history with music? Your first memories of music, I guess, is really kind of like my where I'd want to start.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has been just innately in me my whole life. From a very early age, like my parents have like a VHS tape of, I think it was my dad was coming up the steps in my house and like I was singing. And so like he came into my room and I was like in my crib, and he like came in and was like, "Hey buddy." And like I like got up and was like rubbing my eyes and stuff. And then they just have a lot of video of me as a kid just being a ham and like singing and like acting like I was playing guitar. So I think it was really like the moment, because I was a jock my whole life. Like I was very serious about basketball and very serious about lacrosse. And I think it was probably 1991. Um, I was playing NBA jams and my buddies, mind you, I'm like whatever. Am I like a fifth grade or sixth grade? I'm playing NBA jams in his bedroom. We're listening to Nirvana's Nevermind, and that was the first time I'd heard that. And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And meanwhile, not really paying too much attention to it. But then he put on Pearl Jam's 10, and then I just was like, "What the fuck is this?" And like dropped the controls and was like, "Can somebody play? Like, I don't want to play." And I like sat in front of his stereo and listened to all of Pearl Jam's 10. They're my favorite band. And I just got sucked into that record, and I asked him if I could borrow it. So I went home. My brother was the only person in the house that had a CD player at that time. And I just went in his room and I listened to it 2 times straight through, just sitting in his room listening to that music. And then I left, told my dad I wanted to play guitar. And he was like, okay. And my dad, he passed away in 23, but he was my biggest fan. Like he straight up never questioned anything about my, love or like pursuit of music. I mean, he was probably at one point worried about, is my son going to be able to support himself, obviously.
For sure. Every parent of somebody who's trying to pursue music worries about that at least once.
Yes. But he never ever faltered in terms of supporting me any way he could.
I
And
love that.
so it was just my whole life was, really kind of being a student of music. So like when I got that guitar and then when I started taking lessons, I did not like, it was to the point where I was like my grades were slipping because I was spending so much time in my room trying to get better at this thing, and like listening to Nirvana's Nevermind and rewinding it and like trying to figure it out, training my ear. Like that's how my ear got so good, as I was doing that very early on.
Yeah.
And um So, through doing that and through spending all that time on the instrument, I remember because I had a little seventh grade band in the talent show that year. We played Smells Like Teen Spirit. And then over the summer, that summer, I probably had only been playing for about 7 months when we did the talent show. And then that summer, I like kicked my own ass. I just got in the shed hard. And then I never forget when we came back to school in eighth grade and we had our first band practice back, they were like, what the hell? Because I had put so much work in, they
Yeah.
noticed. And I was like, this is how it works, guys. Like, if you want to get better at
Got to
this,
be serious about it.
you got to take it serious. And there's a kind of person I feel like that works for, that resonates, and that's what takes over in you. And you get that fire in your belly, like just like on the basketball court, like I want the rock, you know what I mean? Like, give me the ball, kind of thing. I'll take care of it. And that's the kind of attitude I had with guitar. I'm like, I want to be challenged. I want to push myself. I want to learn to play all these things that Jimi Hendrix played, or Stevie Ray Vaughan played, or Jimmy Page, whatever, whoever. Um, and I've spent my whole life like it's like it hasn't ended, Sarah. Like it's still going on. Like right before this, I was practicing some stuff that I've been working on, and I started writing songs in seventh or eighth grade. So it's been my whole life has been a guitar player and a songwriter, and I'm a singer out of necessity because nobody else would sing the Smells Like Teen Spirit talent show. I was like, okay, and because they were like, well, you're supposed to sing because you're playing guitar, and the guy in the video sings and plays guitar. I'm like, okay,
So you just kind of got stuck doing it.
yeah. But you know how it is too, because like when you're young and you're listening to that music at that time, I had an older brother who was listening to the Dead. My older sister, she's 8 years older than me. My brother's 4, and they were super into Dylan and the Dead. And my brother started getting into Fish and listening to John Scofield's album A Go Go in his room while he was playing FIFA. And I would be in the house hearing that from my room while I'm practicing playing Pantera and Soundgarden and all this shit. And I love that. I still love that music. I
What
still
a
love
beautiful mixture of things happening, though.
totally. Yeah. I mean, that's why I resonated with Umphrey so much when I first heard them, is because they've got it all in there. It's like a concoction of all these different genres that I love. Um, but it's funny because it's you like get into these moments in time where you get sucked in. Like I was really into the Seattle thing for a long time. And then when my brother exposed me to listening to the Dead or listening to Fish and hearing Trey, I was like, oh well, Trey is like closer to the rock side of things. I can resonate with that more than I can resonate with Jerry right now. So that was my gateway drug into like jam band world.
Yeah.
And then Schofield was my gateway into like, oh, what is Boogaloo Funk? Oh, what is like acid jazz, or like, and then you find
Yeah.
like Gray Boy All Stars, and you find all these other bands that you're like, holy shit, and
Once you fall down the rabbit hole, it's like Alice in Wonderland, and you're just like falling and waving goodbye. Like, that's it. You will never see me again, guys.
100%.
And you just fall into it, and it's glorious and
Hmm.
never ending.
Yeah, and that leads to people like Otis Redding later. That leads to like Stax Records. That leads to bluegrass. That leads to all these different things, and I'm just like, holy crap, dude! Like I'm finding that I like everything. Now, I don't love country music, but like I appreciate the hell out of it.
For sure.
But like bluegrass, my uncle's a bluegrass player. He plays dobro, and like so I've been around that my whole life. But my uncle exposed me to the Beatles when I was in seventh grade. So it's like, you know, every ounce of music I can pull from. I mean, everybody from Fiona Apple to Pantera to the Dead to Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, and there's every bit of that stuff, Charlie Hunter, all this shit ends up in my music. So it's like that, rolling the dice of
Like
like, what's gonna come out
Yahtzee.
today? Yeah.
For sure. You're like, what
Yeah.
are we gonna make? But it's amazing. Like it's so fun and cool. So then you like take all the little things and put them together, like make a sentence. It's like Mad Libs in a way. It's so
100%.
fun.
Oh my
So
God.
fun.
And I feel like I don't have an identity sometimes because music that I release, like This past year, I released 3 singles. One was straight up, I'm unabashedly not ashamed to say, went to see the Bob Dylan biopic and got super inspired.
I need to watch that. That's what I need to add to my list. Thank you.
Very, very good. Very good.
Okay. Yeah.
So wrote a song, just acoustic guitar and harmonica. About 6 or 7 months before that, I released a song with my whole band that's super proggy, 7/4 and 4/4 in the choruses, like super jam band Mark. And then
You're speaking my love language right now.
and that's a good one too, because it's called In the Arms of Our Enemies, and I wrote it about the haters, and I was just like, fuck the haters kind of thing.
Love it.
And then most recently in April, I put a song out that is because I play the piano too. So it's piano, bass, drums, and acoustic guitar, but I got a string quartet to play on it. And it's very poppy, and it's about my dad. It's called Empty Chair. So it's kind of like Hozier meets Beatles. So it's like I am literally all over the goddamn place.
I love this though. That's the way that it should be though. Like that's what music is about, is just taking all of these different pieces and all of these different inspirations and bringing them together and making it what's you. Like that's the part of it too, is like having the pieces that inspire you, but what makes it truly special is actually you.
Right. It's like the fingerprint thing that you can't change. Well, when you get in your car, does it vary for you like day to day, or like sometimes you're like, I don't want to listen to music at all, or like some days you're like, I'm kind of in the mood for something heavy, or kind of in
Totally.
the mood for
It's
something chill.
definitely a mood dependent thing. And it's interesting because of my job, my ears are always working. You know, if it's not editing a podcast episode, um I'll be listening to other content that, is part of the family. Um, or people are constantly, wanting my take on something. And so my ears are always busy. I always say like too, if I could grow an extra set of anything, it would be my ears. But like my brain would have to be able to comprehend, like they'd have to actually work and be able to like remember and like do things. They can't just be there. um so for me sometimes there is that no music thing, like no anything, because I really do need that. It's like a palate cleanse. Sometimes it's just like you can't have it all the time. It's just too much sometimes.
Hmm.
um and sometimes it's everything's like a little overstimulating for me sometimes too, so it's best to like not. But it is a day-to-day thing, and it comes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, where I incorporate music and dancing in my day, in my morning routine, and that's where I notice it really varies mostly in the morning, is because of what I'm using that time and that music for. So sometimes it is a little little
Hmm.
aggressive and a little more like you gotta get your point across. And it's funny if anybody ever caught footage of me in my basement with my headphones on.
Do you listen to music while you work out,
I
or no?
actually do not.
Yeah.
I find it actually distracting for me. Um, because for me, my workouts are really my stress relief, and they're really my time where I flip my phone over. If I'm not working out really early when my kids are still sleeping and my kids are up, like they know like mom's doing her thing. Like
Yeah.
so for me that is really like, I do a lot of thinking, a lot of processing, a lot of whatever. So like for me working out has really just become like this really interesting self like sacred time. It's like, my workouts are just so important to me. It's like and it's so much deeper than just like working out for me. Like
Totally. No, I get it. Trust
it's
me.
it's interesting. I thought about that the other day with my weights. Like I've had the same weights for years now, and it's just like, I in the past 5 years I've been through a divorce. I moved back home with my mom, with my kids and my dog for a year. We got our own place. I've been living on my own and building my company, and I thought about that. I was just like, me and these weights have been through some shit together. But,
Yeah.
like, thanks for being there for me, guys. Like, literally, though, like, blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, like, that's where you become the fighter, right?
Yeah, man, it's true. I mean, it's a zen part of your day. It's got to be focused on you, and I think that's like the important part of like self care and like taking care of yourself, both emotionally and mentally and physically too. Because physical, working out has become a part of my life in the past 5 or 6 years too. And if you don't do it, you didn't do it because you
Yep,
get irritable. You know,
totally,
and it's not.
totally.
And my wife is the same way. She's like, if I don't get done what I need to get done working out during the week, I can feel it, mm, you
I will
know?
literally just burn it all down.
Yeah,
Like
I hear you, I hear you.
like,
It's
"You need to go work out or something, cause what's going on here?"
right, yeah, no, it's true, but it does something, like, and we always live by this credo of, like, you never regret it, right? You may not
Never.
wanna do it, but you never regret it.
I never regret it. I always feel better. And even like, I mean, coming back to like the ghosts and the whatever, I mean, it's very obvious when I say I'm into all the planets and all the things. And, there's a lot of things planetary and otherwise that are just transitioning right now. And so like yesterday was just a day for me. Like I was just feeling the feels, but I did my workout and I was like, that was really fucking amazing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I just felt so much better, like, I still had the feels, but they weren't so ugh.
Yeah, I know.
They weren't so, like, icky, and, for me, it's like the women in my family that precede me, my mom, my grandma, my aunts, my great grandma, et cetera, like, they didn't have the capabilities in their bodies to work out in any capacity in the way that I do. And like I lift heavy. I'm really proud of, what I've accomplished in my progress over the years with my weights. But even like they just were never able to do that. And so like for me that's kind of something that I think about too. Like I'm able to rotate my arm like this. My grandma could never rotate her shoulder like that because
Right.
she had arthritis since she was like 12, And so like she could never do those things. But like I can and like fucking do it for grandma. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I
like
hear you. Yeah.
that's what you have to think about, but it's like so true that like every other woman in my family that preceded me was just never able to move and love their body like that.
Mhm.
And it kind of showed in some ways, And so to just like be able to do that for me also feels like, like in a way is kind of just like, yeah, like this is
Mhm.
for you guys. Like
Yeah.
this,
And, breaking that chain a bit and changing it up and, like, moving forward, it's like
literally.
yeah, it's a good thing to have in your life. I super, super appreciate the fact that we have space in our home that we can have equipment that we can work out and take care of ourselves here, and not have to go to a gym too, because that makes it hard for me with my job to be able to leave and come back on my lunch break or whatever. It's just not easy. But having everything here, and I'm a morning guy now. I didn't used to be a morning guy, but like if I don't work out before 8:30, it ain't happening that day.
Yep.
Which I don't like when that happens. But it's been such a positive part of my routine now, and I think that's the thing too. Is a lot of people say it's the same thing with like with music and everything. Is like the routine of something like the routine for me outside of working out like with music is like after work, like especially if I've had a shit day. I do this thing on Instagram called 5 p.m. cranking amp that I've been doing for 4 or 5 years, and right after work I will just put my phone up, turn my amp up real loud, and just improvise for a minute,
Love it.
and then I just post it, clams and all, like this is me shedding a
This was
minute
the day.
setting my day, you know what I
Yep.
mean? And
This was
sometimes
the
it's
day.
sometimes it's chill, sometimes it's not chill, but it's part of my routine that keeps the mental synapses firing.
Fuck yeah. I
So,
love it. I
mhm,
love that. And we have to. And I think that's what it is too with with everything I've encountered with people like in my life they feel like they have to do the certain things for it to be self-care. And it's like, okay, well, if what you do is working for you and that's part of your thing, then you do that. But if somebody else is like, and knowing what works for you is what's important too. You don't have to do what everybody's like, oh, you need to do. I mean, yeah, I journal, I meditate, that's my vibe. But like, if other people don't want to do that, then that's not what you have to do. But it doesn't mean that you're not figuring out yourself and doing your thing. You just need to find what works for you, and I think
Yeah.
that's what's important for people to remember too, is you don't have to do exactly what you're seeing somebody else do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
social media thing has kind of killed that for some people. It's like taken away, or it's put more emphasis on like, if you don't work out for an hour and a half, you're lame kind of thing. Like, no, dude, you can get a lot done in 20 minutes even, man. Like,
Literally, that's me though, and I think that's a lot to do with just, like, my ADHD. A lot of it has to do with I just can't even for that long. It's hard for me just to do anything for super long time. I work in, like, really nice creative bursts, like, that's, again, learned about myself as, like, the best way to do these creative bursts, but even with my workout, like, I really don't, unless it's something pressing, I don't do anything that's work related until after I've done my workout.
yeah.
I don't answer any emails. There's very few people that I work with that I will text back. It won't be anything that's really pressing for any of that kind of stuff. It's just like, because it's a different, I mean, I'm authentic, but there's work you and everything else and you're authentic throughout, but at the same time there's a different mindset and a different mentality and people, it's a blessing and a curse, but people are always asking my thoughts on things. And I respect that and I love that people always come to me for advice on creative projects and want me to look at things, what do you think of this? Or can you help me with this project? Or can you listen to this and tell me what you think of whatever? And, I'm really grateful that people reach out to me, but I have to be in that mindset to absorb what they're sending me because whether it's audio, visual, whatever, it's their art and they're asking me for really honest feedback in that. And so, even having that time in the morning to just get my mind straight and everything and, being a mom and having to support them and anyways, but especially now
Yeah.
it's
That's a
a
lot.
lot to navigate.
Well, you know what's interesting about that too for you is like that says a lot about people's trust in you because the vulnerability of sharing something creative is, first of all, it's not something that everybody's willing to do, let alone kind of like focused at one person. Like, I trust your opinion on this and I'm being vulnerable with you. That says a lot about your relationship with those people. Because it's not an easy thing to do to like put yourself out there like that, obviously. And what's kind of weird too is I think from going to like music school and like going to Berkeley and going to songwriting classes and like having to get up in front of the class and play a song in front of like 18 other people who are also extremely talented. And you're just like, oh, this is a little scary. Like, it kind of numbed me to it after a while. Like, in the beginning, it was scary, which I guess there's a good and a bad thing there. The good thing is that I got comfortable just playing music in front of people that I don't really know or people that I maybe respect to the point where it makes me nervous.
For sure.
Like that went away. But I also lost the like vulnerable artist part of me too that, kind of wants to caress something and like birth it into the world. And like my wife kind of doesn't get it. She's not musical. She doesn't play an instrument. She likes music, but she doesn't love loud guitar, which I don't know why she married me. Um, but what's interesting is for her, she doesn't write music. She doesn't understand. She's like, why do you keep having to like spend all this money in studios and put music out? Because I
You
have to.
have to.
I have to.
You have to.
Some people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And it's not something I can just turn off. And it's not something I want to be curbed to turn off. And I've told her that too. I was like, I don't want to, resent you or anyone else who's trying to get me to not do it. because you don't understand why it is just festering inside of me. That's what it feels like, and that's a
Yep.
negative thing. But like, there's a beautiful thing that needs to come out. That if it doesn't, it festers and it gains, I don't know, fungus. It gathers moss. You know what I mean?
Totally, though. I totally know what you mean. I mean, that's just really kind of where everything started for me and my podcast in 2018. I was just like, I literally have no idea what the fuck I'm doing about anything, but I wanted find people and talk about music. And now where I'm at is just literally far exceeds anything that I could have imagined when this was a crazy idea in 2018. And that's what it was, though. And over the years it's just been like, I need to say these things, I need to do these things, I need to whatever. And I've like I said, I went through a divorce, so I've
Mhm.
been told that I was crazy and that this is whatever and whatever. And
Mhm.
but here we are now, and it's grown into what I wanted, but so much more. And there's so many other things that are coming. And it's all just because it's like I had to do this. I had to say these things. I had to build this thing because I wanted to have this space for people to do
Yeah.
their things. And now I've been able to bring all these amazing photographers in from all over the country, and in Denver and Virginia Beach and Florida, and be the outlet for them so that they're able to go and start cutting their teeth at these venues with these bands and getting pictures and doing these things. And they can do that under the umbrella of DATC Media. And
Yeah.
I am honored and grateful to
Yeah.
do that for them, because who the hell knows what's going to happen for them now? And
Right.
then I get to stand there like a proud mom. I get to be like, but look at you now. Look at what
Right.
you've done and you've built. And it's amazing. Like,
Mhm.
it's just really special. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do it, you have to get it out.
Yeah. There's no other way. Otherwise, it's like you feel like you're gonna explode. It's. I think that it ebbs and flows, right? Like as far as creativity. And there's like a period of my life where like right after Berkeley when I was writing all the time, that I was like, "Oh, I need a break."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I had to slow down. But then there's a period of time in the past year where it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like just coming out, everything's coming out of me, and it's like kind of like what Eddie Vedder has talked about when I've heard him talk about like being a lightning rod, that is just kind of out in the wind, and you're kind of just you get struck every now and again, and you kind of have to harness it while you can. Because sometimes, and this too, you probably talk to so many people, but like sometimes a song will write itself in 10 minutes.
Sometimes it will. It's the same
Times
thing
10
with any
months.
sort of projects that I've done too, like all of a sudden I'll just be sitting there and something will just start happening and I'll get my computer, and then before I know it, it's like, okay, well, I just built like an entire, like, our next mini podcast series. Like, what the hell just happened here?
Right.
Like, it's like I
Yeah.
made the graphic, I got the guest down, I got the whatever down, I got the song, I got everything done. I'm like, what the okay. So
Yeah.
this is what we're doing next, apparently. Okay, I had no idea. And that's been like my thing too, really, with like having this whole thing, is being really open to rolling with the punches of where you're going next with coverage, really. Because I've had people reach out to me. They're like, oh, I want to do this show at whatever. Okay, we can get you passes. Go shoot the show. Let's cover that. Let's feature that artist now. Okay. And just really being open to just having whatever's like flowing your way. And then now I'm building relationships with these artists, like management, because we're getting media passes and doing things. And now they're like really cool people that I've connected with and gotten to chat with and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is why we were supposed to go and shoot this show, because now we met this person. And just being really open to all the cool people that you're going to encounter and get to work with. And it's been really, really special once you really like open yourself up to that. And that kind of also talks about what you were saying with like the Baltimore music scene, really, and just like having all these different people and artists coming together and doing these different things. It's the
Hmm.
beautiful thing about music.
100%. I feel like there's no other. I mean, is there any other medium that is this transferable, like worldwide? You know, that is this language is perceived by every single human, you know, even without knowing the language. Like,
Literally,
you know,
you
I
will
feel
have
like
artists that will go and play arenas in other countries, and
Mhm.
those people that go to the show, English very well might not be their first language, but they go to see an artist and they're singing the songs.
Right. That's impressive.
And they're all feeling these enormous feels and memories and processing things that are going on in their life in real time all at the same time. And
Mm,
then everybody in that room is just emitting energy. I mean, it's just, and then you've got the artist and the people, and just, it's such a special thing. It really,
yeah.
really is.
That like synergistic, you know, experience. Well, I went to see Taylor Swift last year with my wife and my daughter
Okay.
in Miami, and you know, I went for them,
Of
and
course.
one of my friends, we had lucked out because one of my friends is one of her backup singers.
Oh,
So
nice.
she was like, she didn't hook us up with tickets, but we bought them at face value. We didn't have to spend crazy money.
Right.
Um, so we went to Miami to see her, and man, it was a very interesting. Like when I was watching the crowd, just it was like just you know observing what was going on around me while Taylor's on the stage singing and stuff. It's exact. I was like resonating with it because it's exactly how I feel when I go to see Pearl Jam. Because
Yep.
Pearl Jam for me is such a ingrained, tattooed, literally
Literally.
part of my life that when I hear songs, it literally takes me back to a moment, to driving in my Geo Tracker on the way to some, you know, stupid event or going to school or high school or like wherever I was going. Totally transports me. And I'm like, that is what all these people are experiencing right now because all this music that she's playing from all her eras, this is an era in everybody's life and here too.
Totally.
And that is, I was like, Jesus, like this is like
Yep.
super, like I can feel it, even though I'm not a huge fan, like I can feel the immensity of this moment for everyone,
Totally.
you know?
Totally.
And it's wild because it is since I've been doing what I've been doing with my podcast, getting to know people and like interviewing the dudes in Mo and like when they came through Baltimore, went backstage and hung out with them and stuff. Sitting next to Chuck and like my whole life I spent playing to their live record one. Like that I'd like learning how to improvise. And like I told those dudes and like I got close with Jim and Vinny more so, but I told those dudes that like I learned how to improvise from listening to you guys and like understanding how to communicate with a band. Um and you know, had I told my whatever 18-year-old self that that was going to happen one day, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's just crazy. And I just interviewed Pearl Jam's first drummer from the 10 record,
I saw that.
and that was crazy. I mean, I was sitting there thinking, like, I'm surprised I'm not freaking out right now. Like, my wife was like, "Are you gonna like totally freak out?" I was like, "No, because I've been doing this long enough now." But when you
Later on, I will by
right, yeah.
myself. I'm gonna fangirl by myself with the door closed.
But it is funny because you just get to know that these people are just people.
They're just people.
And they happen to like fall into something beautiful that I wish I could do for a living. But like they play guitar, they write songs, and they have an audience. And you know, they're just doing their best to keep the roof on and keep the lights and the food on the table, just like the rest of us. But they're having to
Totally.
do with art, you know. And the sooner I started to realize that, the less I freaked out about talking to my heroes. And the more I started thinking about like you should meet your heroes because I maybe have had only one negative experience with somebody that I was like, ugh, that was yucky. That was a little icky. Not on my podcast, but like in real life. Um, but like 99.9% of the time, it's been amazing to meet
It's
my
been
heroes.
amazing. And it's because you really get to learn, and it helps you apply to your own whatever it is that you're doing. We're all just humans on this planet trying to figure it out.
Mhm. Yep.
And sometimes, especially here in the States, there's such that celebrity worship culture, and we put people on pedestals. I mean, we just do that anyways as human beings. But now more so with the social media and all the things, you put people on a pedestal, and you forget that people are people. And it's the same thing when you have these negative things that happen in the news too, or it's, something happens to somebody's family. Like the whole thing with like Dave Grohl, to keep it on music topic.
Right.
Like the whole thing that happened with Dave Grohl. I don't condone any of whatever, but that's not my life and that's not my situation, and I don't have any judgment to pass on that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And for anybody to kind of sort of say anything is just like, well, but like, is that your situation? No. And and he's a
He's a
human.
human.
He's
Yeah,
a
I was just
human
gonna say.
being. Like, let's not forget that. And humans aren't perfect.
Mm-mm. No, people
So
make
I don't
mistakes.
know, somewhere along the line, somebody expected that Dave Grohl was like perfect, but he's a human.
Yeah, I know.
Humans make mistakes. So
I
I
know.
think that it's good to meet your heroes because it's important to remember that. And that's why I love reading biographies of musicians. I'm reading Mike Campbell's book right now,
Oh,
and
cool.
oh, it's so good. I'm just so immersed in it. It's so great. But that's why I love reading those types of books, because as a creative, it's so inspiring to hear. Like, I read a book about Levon Helm recently, and like to hear like he had financial problems for so much of his career. Like, it
Mhm.
was something that he had to deal with behind the scenes, and all the stuff that was going on with the band, and how he really felt about Robbie Robertson, and all these other things. And it's just kind of like, it makes you feel better because you're like, "Okay, so I don't suck." Like, okay, so life was happening to them too.
Right.
Okay, because we forget that sometimes, and I think even if you're not a creative, I think we forget that as humans sometimes too, that, like, none of us have it figured out.
No.
So it's like, like there's this misconception that like, oh, maybe they don't either. None of us do. So
No.
it really humanizes, and it helps me as a creative to be like, okay, all right, so I don't suck at doing this. I'm doing all right. Okay.
Yeah, it makes you think about your parents too when you're little, like, when I was, like, in my teens, my parents didn't know what the hell they were doing either. Like, I'm 46, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of empathy and a little bit of, like, "Okay, I get it," you know?
I see you now.
I was thinking about this the other day about, like, how I feel like we're all still, like, our child selves,
Totally.
just trying to deal with being an adult kinda thing.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a part of me that's still like there's things that still make me happy and still bring me a lot of joy that still would have brought my 15-year-old self a lot of joy.
Totally.
And when you start to kind of blend those worlds of like the responsibility of being an adult and all that, it's an interesting thought. Like I just thought about it the other day and I was like, man, I can't like let go of things that bring me joy just because I'm an adult.
And you shouldn't. And
You know?
that's what part of it is I've learned, especially like in my own healing journey, and transitioning into new chapters and everything, and really discovering what I like and what I'm about and what it means to be me. And there's so many things. It was for me too. I just kept going back to these different things that were interesting to me. Maybe they were a little more developed in taste or more grown up because I was older, but I'm like, wait a minute, like this was, something that was interesting to me back when I was, 14, 15, whatever. And you're right. It's about blending those two parts of it, because especially now we have to keep a hold of those things in life. And I think that that's something that I'm really grateful for, with being able to be home with the kids the way that I am, and do what I do with them, because I can be present with them and really try to have that moment and see it like from their perspective, and try to, instead of being like really overwhelmed in the moment, which can happen when you're a single mom and everybody needs something and there's dishes and you're just like, fuck right
Uh-huh.
now. Everything's happening at once. See, you're
Yeah,
back to like burning it down if we don't work out. This is why we work out.
right.
Um, but it's really like taking that moment, like the other day when I was having like a moment in time and my son wanted to do the groceries at the self checkout. And I had to take a moment and be like, you know what? This is instead of like kind of reacting and doing whatever, like find the joy in this, doing the groceries, scan the thing, let's have fun.
Yeah,
Like this would be whatever. And just shifting that mindset of, oh, we have to be at the grocery store and buy the groceries and blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
Shift it.
yeah,
And then, instead of having that responsibility side of it, like having that childlike fun side of it. So I'm
yeah.
grateful for that because they definitely make me check myself before I wreck myself.
Yeah, they'll keep you honest, that's for sure.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Especially a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, she's fun. Yeah.
There is no one more brutally honest.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, I never thought that my daughter would like it because she's been the sweetest kid. We only have one, and she's always been the sweetest. And my buddy John has kids that are a little bit older, and he was like, just wait till she gets to high school, till she's 14, and she's gonna stop wanting to hang out with you guys and stuff. And I was like, not her. She's so sweet. She loves being around us. Last night, my wife and I are sitting down. We love the Great British Baking Show, like when
I
that
love
comes out
it.
every year.
Yeah.
And so we're watching it, and my kid does not like it. And so she's sitting on the couch, like, and like she starts to fall asleep. It's like 8:30, almost close to 9 or something. She starts falling asleep, and she just gets up and she's like, "I'm going to bed," and just like leaves. I'm like, we looked at each other like, "Okay, this is the phase of life we're in now." She doesn't want to kind of be around us, and we'll see how long this lasts. But it's wild, man. It's so wild.
It's
Being a
wild.
parent in general is wild.
It's wild. That's what I say to people. I'm like, "Listen, if you ever really wanna do any sort of, like, self-discovery, self-work on anything, like, be a parent."
Yeah, yeah. It'll show you how selfish you are. Too.
Literally.
Like
Like,
I realized how selfish of a person I was when my kid came along. I was like, oh God, I gotta do all this stuff now. So, but
truly.
you acclimate to it pretty quickly, I think.
You
So
figure it out because you just kinda really don't have a choice. I mean, you
gotta
have
keep this
to.
thing alive.
Yes, you're like, "We have to
Or
have this
not.
live or
No.
not." Like, what do we do? What do I do with
Oh God. Oh man. Being whatever I was, 29 or 30 years old and like having a child, and then you're like, oh shit, like life is real now.
this is really for real now.
Yeah, there is no, I'm gonna go hang out with my boys kind of thing, But anyway,
It's fantastic though. I love
yeah,
it. It's
totally.
it's it's the greatest thing in the world. It really is. Like
Mhm.
I tell my son every day. I tell him, I'm like, I'm so glad that you chose me to be your mom. And he'll like look at me and be like, Mom, because he just like hates it when I go down the whole metaphysical thing. And so he'll
Yeah.
be like, Mom, I didn't choose you. And I'm like, but actually, and he's like, don't say it. And I'm like, okay, buddy. Either way, I love you. And thanks for being here.
100%. That's the way
Because
to be.
it's an honor when you think about it, you get to have this time. Like I think about, I don't talk to my mom nearly as much as I would like to because I'm busy. I mean, I see her pretty often, she doesn't live far from me and we spend time together. We do things, but I don't see her every day. We don't talk every day. We're not whatever. And it's just like you get this time with them for the first 17, 18 years of their lives or whatever. And, it's really special because that time is, again, I mean, the time is most valuable of anything. And so
Yeah,
and it really truly does. It's crazy how fast it really does go.
I
Like
know. It's
it's
such a
sad.
cliche, and people think that all the time when you say it to them when they're a new parent after you've been a parent. But I'm like, no, dude, for real. Like you almost want to grab them by the shoulders, like it for real
No,
goes.
but for real.
Yeah, no, it's
Before you know
ridiculous.
it.
Yeah.
Before you know it. So
Yeah.
I'm just wanted you to talk about your music.
So it's weird. There is another Mark Hopkins on iTunes that I saw or Spotify, but it was like orchestral music. It wasn't like rock music. So my stuff is under Mark Hopkins and under Mark Hopkins and the Pretty War, which is my band.
Okay.
So under Mark Hopkins, the latest song I released was that song All Those Amens, which is the Bob Dylan-y thing. And that one is super fun. It's kind of like a biographical song, to be honest. And so I released that, but then under the Pretty War, that's where the song In the Arms of Our Enemies is, that's through there, and then also Empty Chairs with the Pretty War.
I want to listen to those for sure.
Yeah, you should. I think you would dig probably both of those. But In the Arms of Our Enemies is fun because it is it's all live. So we didn't do the only overdubs that were done, I think, is when I did my guitar solos. But Paul Masano played on that too. So
Really? Okay.
yeah. So Paul Masano came and just played with my band. He just sat in and played. He's like the last solo of the tune. But I put a video on my YouTube channel of us, the recording of that, when we did that. Because we did it in one day. We just went in 4 hours. We just recorded it. And it was a bigger band. So there was me, Paul Masano, my bass player Ryan, my drummer John, keyboard player John, and then the other guitar player Jamie, who also plays sax. So yeah, bigger band that day. Usually my band's 4 people, but I was just like, I'm gonna bring Paul Masano on because we always kind of wanted to work together. And he's actually just on my channel this past week. We talked about teleport, his thing with teleport and all that.
Dude, I've been watching all his videos and everything. He's been on my show twice over the years. And I was like, you need to definitely come back on and then talk about that. I mean, what a very
super cool idea.
Very cool thing.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to like play one and like feel it and see it and all that. But yeah, you should definitely do that. So then, yeah, so besides that, so Mark Hopkins and the Pretty War is the band that I play with around Baltimore. And then also we had a really cool show. If anyone is listening to this and is in Baltimore, we're playing a show on October 4th at this cool brewery, and it's like their Pumpkin Fest. And it's going to be me, a keys player, drums and bass, which I don't always have keys with me, but my buddy John is playing. He's going to start playing with us more. Which is cool, but then I don't get to play keys a lot, which is a bummer. But because I love playing piano, but that's fine. It's all about serving the song. So between that, gigging, and then doing YouTube demos for gear and stuff, which I do weekly, At Home with Mark is the show you're going to be on, and it's a similar kind of thing where it's just like sit and kind of like act like you're hanging out in a guitar shop, just chatting. Jeremy from Pigeons Playing Ping Pong is going to be on a couple weeks because they're Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I've never hung out with them or talked to them, but Jeremy and I talked on the phone the other day.
He's a phenomenal guitar player too.
Yeah, he's a good dude too. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But then yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing. That's what I've got going on. I mean, you know how it is in terms of like booking guests and how much work it goes into that and researching people, and so that takes up a large portion of time, but it's all good stuff. It's all fun. I mean, it's keeping me sane
for sure.
Besides working, because my day job is working for the Berklee College of Music, so I do work for their undergraduate and their graduate program for their online school.
Okay.
So sales and basically, guiding people through the admissions process of how to apply for grad and undergrad and all that. So that's my day gig, which is nice because I work from home. Been there for 15 years, which is cool.
That is really nice.
And that was great. Talk about a really kind of comfortable work-life balance being home, because when my kid was in elementary school till now, I've been home to like get her on and off the bus. I'm the cook in the house, so I cook all the meals and
everything.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's been a huge blessing, especially since my wife has like a corporate job. So it's like way more stress for her, and like she's got to be out the door and downtown and all that. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, life is pretty good. Life is as good as it could be right now in my sphere.
Absolutely. And that's what I try to remember myself and, say when people are like, how are things going? And it's like, you know what? We're good, because when you look back at history, like the world was always worlding. though,
Yeah.
like, if you look
Mhm.
back at history, like, shit was fucked kind of always.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
and people were still creating music and painting pictures and writing poems and falling in love and having babies and building homes and creating lives and doing things and so there was all that crazy shit always going on. There was
Mhm.
always this beautiful stuff going on too.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so we're just kind of like in our vortex and I'm just putting the beautiful shit out there. That's what my thing is this.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, keep doing it because the world needs it right now, and I think there's a lot of, uh there's a lot of solace we can take in moments like this where the 2 of us can just sit and talk and not be distracted by phones or by outside noise or whatever it may be. I think it takes a lot of energy these days to not pick up your phone. I know how that sounds. It's weird to say that, but like I think it takes a lot of energy to not do that.
So true. I have recently been trying to be really mindful about it, and it's so difficult because my job is literally on my phone. I build everything pretty much from my phone and do everything. And so it's something that that's been one of my things. I'm like I know I can have a better relationship with this in my life. Really having that like, do I really need to be on this right now? And am
Right.
I using the guise of, "Oh, I'm working," as some sort of it's like, "But are you? Like, what are you doing right now, really?"
I know. You're
You
looking at
know?
puppy videos, dude. Like, what are
Like,
you?
literally, you're like,
I
"Come
know.
on
I'm
now." Yeah.
serious. That's what I
Yeah.
do. My whole
Exactly.
algorithm is guitars and puppies.
Dude, literally though, like, it's like what just you got to get off of it. And even if that's the thing, like even if that is what your algorithm is cuz I'm the same way, like I don't pay attention to the news, like that's not in my feed. Even that for too much is just like you start to get, drooling. Like I need to do
I
something
know.
that's literally stimulating my brain now. Like, come on,
I
let's
know.
do something.
I had to tell my one friend Sean on Instagram, who I loved and is a good friend of mine, that I was like, dude, I'm if you see for any reason that I'm not liking your stories or anything anymore, it's not that I don't appreciate the good work you're doing with spreading the truth, the real truth out into the world and like speaking your mind about what's going on, but I can't see it.
Can't do it
I can't
anymore.
do it
It's too
anymore, dude.
much.
I
It's
really
too
can't.
much.
Yeah.
That's where I've been at it. Is you just have to find that balance of being informed, but then being blissfully unaware at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Because you have to. Because if I didn't, I'd probably just, like, be under my covers in a ball.
Mhm.
Like, if I really, like, sat down and I'd be like, "That we're done. That's it. Bye, guys.
I know, I know. Trust me, I'm right there with you. I was so
See
fired
ya."
up yesterday, and then I was like, "All right, I gotta chill out, man. How can I chill out?" Oh my god. But
Go
I
throw
think
on some music and dance it out. That's what you gotta do.
that's true. Well, maybe I should
That's
do
what I
that.
do.
Mm, I don't blame you. It's probably not
That's
a
what I
bad
do.
idea.
That's what
Wait,
I do.
when do you like well, you know what? I'm gonna save that for when you're on my show because
Okay.
I wanna ask you more stuff when you're on my show.
I'm really, really excited because not very many people I had a friend of mine on a show like over the summer and he had turned the tables on me and asked me some questions about my dad and my dad's passing and how it really affected my relationship with the Tragically Hip and coming back to that band and doing all the things with them and my buddy that lives in Canada and his show and everything, so it was just like this whole thing. And he had turned the tables on me on my show and I was like not ready for it because nobody ever asks me my questions,
Mhm.
asks me about my whole history with everything. So,
Well, I've held back this whole time because I know you're gonna come on mine. Otherwise, I was about to turn on interviewer too, and I'm like, "That's not my job today. Chill the fuck out." Like, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you, and I will make sure we cover it all when you come on.
and
So
I love it too because you're live though.
I am. You know what though? What's cool about that, I think, is it's real. Not to say that this isn't real because we had a very real conversation.
For
But
sure.
I first of all, I'm lazy. I don't want to edit. That's the real reason, if I'm honest, Sarah.
I get it.
I'm just so lazy. The amount of time I spend, even with my gear demos, like Like I just did this pedal. There's this company called Wonderful Audio Technology, and he's like the Willy Wonka of like my world with like guitar pedals. But
I love this.
he sent me something a couple weeks back, and because he has a fuzz pedal that I got like 2 years ago that is fucking awesome, and I'm a huge fuzz junkie. But like he was like, "Hey, dude, do you want to check this thing out? I got this thing," and I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to check it out." And it's on my board now. I put it immediately on my board. That's how much I loved it.
Damn.
And so when I played it, I basically I don't really edit my videos, like clams and all, like I'm a human, like I might hit a wrong note, and if I do it 3 times it's jazz, so chill out. But but I'm just not, I don't have enough time like to like
Yeah.
sit and do, because when I watch certain of my contemporaries who do guitar demos and stuff, you can tell when it's edited and like from their speech, and I'm like, if I bumble my words, who cares, dude? Like I'm a human. Like I don't need to be a robot and like make everything perfect. So I think it's mostly because I'm lazy.
I get
That's
it.
why I do it live.
Dude, that's
So,
what will happen to me. I'll be like, oh my God, this episode goes out tomorrow and I didn't even do it. And it's just because I didn't edit it yet.
yeah,
Everything else is so easy to like, because I have such a, system now that everything for episode release is so fucking easy. But
yeah,
it's always that like editing. And I'm like, oh,
I hear you. But you're really easy to talk to, so it should be. I'm gathering that it should be very easy for you to like edit things. So
yeah, it's only usually like when, like at the end of the last conversation when we had to edit something out because we were kind of
right,
mapping out where we were going next. But that's usually it.
yeah, it's
We
fine.
usually don't have a lot. It's just that it's just like having to sit there and listen to the conversation again sometimes, not that
Let
it's
me
terrible. You're
relive
like,
my life.
I don't want to like listen to myself talk about it again.
Oh, Oh, it was a
Even
very good.
after all these years, I'm still like, it's
I know.
weird, it's weird.
It's cringy sometimes. I don't like listening to myself either. I get it. So,
Yeah, it's okay.
well, this was great though. I mean, I had a really good time
Really
hanging
great.
with you. So,
This was a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to hang out with you again and be put in the hot seat.
yeah, why not? You got to get there every now and again,
For
right?
sure. It'll be good for me. I'm
Well,
excited.
well, thank you so much. I
Well,
appreciate
thank
you.
you so much. This was so awesome.
Yeah.
And before we go, please tell everybody where they can find you properly, where they can find your music, your website, all of that, your YouTube. Go through it all before we close it out.
Instagram is just Mark Hopkins Music. I do all my little fun things. All guitar noodly things are there. All the Schweedles can be found there.
Love it.
YouTube, same thing. Mark Hopkins Music.
Okay.
I think I'm over. I can't remember how many videos I saw the other day. I think it might be over 650 videos now on there.
Nice.
Which is a combination of guitar stuff. There's some live footage of the band. There's some documentary stuff I shot for the band. And then all the episodes of At Home with Mark can be found under the live section. I don't have a website. I basically just use Instagram and YouTube now. There's a Facebook page for Mark Hopkins and the Pretty War where I'll put like dates that we're playing and stuff. But I don't hang out on Facebook that much these days because of how toxic it is. So
Same.
but yeah, I mean, so it's all over there. But if you do Mark Hopkins music, you'll find me.
Yeah, and I'll link everything. Everybody listening knows where to find all the things, but
Cool.
I like to give you a moment to shout yourself out.
I appreciate that.
I love it. All right, and your show, your podcast.
Yeah, At Home with Mark. Usually every Tuesday at 6. Depends on who's on, because sometimes folks that have touring schedules and things like that, I gotta adjust a little bit. But usually every Tuesday at 6 is when they are.
And that's just on YouTube, or is that in podcast feeds also?
It's a very good question. Thank you so much. YouTube, and it's also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Perfect. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Please be sure to leave a review of the show. It would mean so much to me, and it helps get this podcast into the ears of even more fellow music fans. If you're not already following the show on social media, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Dropped Among This Crowd Podcast, or check out datcmediacompany.com for more. Thank you again. I'll see you around these parts real soon. Mad love.